All right, I think we're ready to get started then. Well, welcome to tonight's virtual neighborhood meeting for a wireless transmission facility to be located at 2514 Main Street. Next slide, Dallas. Before we get started, I wanted to go over a meeting agenda for tonight. We'll begin with some welcome and introductions. I'll introduce myself and the rest of the city staff. We'll also introduce the applicant team. We'll then move into an overview of the project and the administrative process that the applicant will go through as they seek approval for their project. Once that's concluded, the applicant will then present on an overview of their project as well. After the applicant presentation, we'll have time for public comment and questions, and we'll conclude with some next steps. So with that, my name is Nathan Josmeyer. I'm one of the principal planners here with the City of Longmont Planning and Development Services Department. On the call as well, we have Dallas Stiles, who is our digital media specialist. On the applicant side, we have Shazad Mahmood, James Waller, and Jose Mencia. And they are the applicant team who's going to be moving forward with this development application. Next slide. All right, so in terms of an overview of the project, as I mentioned, it is located at 2514 Main Street. The property is currently zoned mixed-use regional center, or MUR. The property was annexed in 2004 and platted and constructed in 2005. It's currently built out as a Walmart. The image on the right-hand side of the screen is an aerial image of the site, so you can see the existing Walmart parking lot and surrounding retail uses. The red star in the bottom of the screen, just to the south of the Walmart building, is the proposed, generally speaking, the proposed location of the wireless telecommunication facility. Next slide, please. So specifically, the request is for a monopole wireless telecommunication facility. A monopole is a telecom facility that is designed to look like a natural feature. So most often they look like pine trees. So you might hear them referred to as monopines. So the request is for a monopole to be located at the site. As I mentioned earlier, when the property was annexed in 2004, the city council adopted as part of that annexation agreement a fairly detailed concept plan that acted as the site plan for the development of the property. So any amendments or changes to that site plan also require an amendment to the concept plan, which can only be approved by city council, which is part of the reason we're here tonight. So with this moving forward, city council would have to take action on the concept plan amendment to allow the structure to be located on the site and within the proposed location. Proposed location currently acts as a landscaped area and buffer for the loading bays for the Walmart. In addition to this, the proposed height of the monopole is approximately 80 feet. The land development code allows a monopole to maximum height for a monopole to be 50 feet. So any structures that exceed that 50-foot maximum are required to go through the variance process. A variance is also approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission. If both City Council and the Planning and Zoning Commission approve the concept plan and concept plan amendment and the variance, then the applicant would be able to move forward with the site plan, and the site plan would show all engineering and design specifications for the monopole use at the site. Next slide, please. So in terms of process, both the concept plan amendment and variances are considered major development applications under the City of Longmont Land Development Code. And as a major development application, they're required to both have neighborhood meetings. So that is what we are conducting this evening. Once the neighborhood meeting has been concluded, the applicant will then be able to move forward with formal applications for the two requests. Those applications will be submitted to the Development Review Committee, or the DRC. DRC consists of city staff, primarily engineers, city engineers, and city planners. We have representatives from the fire department and the Longmont Power and Communications Department, as well as others. So we will review the request, and ensure that it complies with the approval criteria of the Land Development Code, and we will develop our recommendation that we will then send to the City Council and Planning and Zoning Commission to act as the final decision-making body on the request. So once the DRC has conducted their review and developed their recommendation, we'll set a public hearing date where the final decision will be made by either City Council, Planning and Zoning Commission. Next slide. So that concludes the staff presentation. We'll come back to some process stuff here in a minute, but we're going to hand it over to the applicant who then go over theirs.
Thank you very much, Nathan. So my name's Shahzad Mahmood, and I work with Kimley Horn. Kimley Horn is an architect engineering firm that was hired by SBA Communications. SBA Communications Corporation is a cell tower owner and developer here in the United States as well as internationally. As Nathan previously stated, we're proposing a monopine or monopole structure of 80 feet located at the existing Walmart at 2514 Main Street. Next slide, please. Here is the project location, similarly to what Nathan had shown, located at the existing Walmart, the pink square showing where we have our proposed location currently. Next slide. So here's a plan view.
Sorry about that. This is, I know we were right.
Yeah, there.
Sorry about that. There you go.
No problem. So here is a cut sheet of the plan view of the tower monopine itself. As we stated previously, we're proposing an 80-foot tall structure. The structure itself will be designed for multiple carriers to co-locate on the tower. That helps out with new towers not being needed within the area. If the structure was only structurally sound for one tower, then you would need another tower across the street or such. This design allows for multiple carriers to co-locate on this existing tower. When I say co-location, I'm talking about carriers like Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile. So let me talk a little bit about that. The reason SBA chose this location specifically was because that they found a need through their relationships with Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, where there's a need for coverage and capacity within the area. As a result, they've come into a lease agreement with Walmart to allow them to try and develop the cell tower at this location. As Nathan previously stated, this is zoned MU-R. Also down at the bottom of the tower is a fenced-in compound. That fenced-in compound will be a 50 by 50 fenced-in compound. We're planning on surrounding it with a landscape buffer to assist with coverage around the tower itself, so that the equipment will not be easily visible to the public at that location. Next slide. Again, here, this is just another plan view showing the setback requirements and how far back we are from the right-of-way and the property line. Next slide. And here, what we wanted to do was provide the public with a little bit of an idea of what the monopine will look like from different vantage points surrounding the Walmart. So this first one, if you look on the left, you'll see we've called out where the project location is. And what we did was we took a picture at position 1 looking towards the site. So you can see here at the top right an existing photo without the tower, and at the bottom, once the tower were to be installed, we've simulated how that would look. Next slide. And then here's position number 2. It's actually very hard to see from position number 2, but you can kind of see it behind the Popeyes peeking out. Then next slide, please. And then here's position number 3. Again, here you can see it. This is actually from a different vantage point, the other entrance of Walmart. You can see it, straight ahead. Then position the next slide, please. And here is position number 4, which is behind the Walmart. Here, it's very tough to see the Monopine facility as well. Go ahead, you can go to the next slide. Yeah, so with that, we wanted to just introduce the project to everyone, give you an idea of what it would possibly look like, and yeah, with that, we're open to questions or comments.
All right, thank you, Shizak. As I mentioned earlier, this is a virtual neighborhood meeting that is currently being live streamed on the city's Longmont's YouTube channel and will remain saved there for future reference. So before we get into the public comment period, we just wanted to set some ground rules and go through some housekeeping items. If you're watching, we will post in just a second a call-in number that you'll be able to call in to ask any comments, ask any questions, or make any comments. Each speaker will be given about 3 minutes to ask any questions. We ask that you state your name and where you live. We also ask that you keep all questions and comments related to the current proposal. Just in the best interest of everybody's time, please be additive and not repetitive, meaning that if somebody made a very similar comment to the one that you're planning on making, made that comment before you, we ask that you just state you agree with that earlier comment. And then if you have anything in addition to add, feel free to. And then finally, last but not least, please no personal attacks. So with that, I will hand it over to Dallas. We'll go over the call-in procedure. Thanks.
Sure thing. So yes, right now, if you are watching the live stream, this is your chance to call in and ask your question or comment. The number is 1-888-788-0099. Once you get there, you'll enter the meeting ID 880-1608-9300. Right now, we're going to take a 5-minute break for callers to call in, and I will call us back once that 5 minutes is up. Talk to you in a moment. Thanks. Hey, folks, we've got about 90 seconds left on our call-in timer. We've been having some technical issues. If you were unable to get in right after we started the 5-minute timer, now is still a good time to call in. That number again is 1-888-788-0099. The meeting ID is 880-1608-9300. Got about a minute left. If you are trying to call in, now's your chance, and we will take your questions and comments in a minute. Thanks. Okay, that is our 5-minute timer right now. Nathan and crew, I am not seeing any callers in our chat.
All right. Well, thanks, Dallas. And we'll move on with the meeting this evening. If you're watching or listening, this isn't your only time to reach out and ask questions. We'll have some contact information here in just a little bit to go over. So before we get there, I just wanted to recap and go over next steps again. So this does conclude the required neighborhood meeting for the 2 development applications. So next steps are the applicant will be able to submit an application, make a formal application. As I mentioned earlier, that application will be submitted to the DRC, where we will review the request and develop a recommendation. At the time of application submittal, we will send out notices and place signs on the site stating that an application has been submitted. It will include the contact information for city staff member. If you have additional questions that you'd like or would just like to follow the project, you can contact us and we'll give you as much information as you'd like. Once we have developed a recommendation, we will set the public hearing date, as I mentioned earlier. Once we do that, we will then send additional notice out. So that notice will be sent out to property owners within required distance, and we'll place signs on the site. We'll also place a notice in the newspaper of the date, time, and location of the public hearing. Most of the time, 99% of the time, the public hearings are held at city council chambers here in downtown Longmont, across right next to the library. But we will include the date, time, and location of that public hearing. The City Council and Planning and Zoning Commission will respectively hear the 2 items at the public hearing. They are the final decision-making bodies. So if they approve the request as is, then the applicant will be able to move forward with submitting formal applications for their site plan, followed by building permits. And once those 2 are approved by city staff, they'll be able to move forward with construction. However, if the city council or planning and zoning commission adds any, the other option is that they could approve it with additional conditions. Any conditions that are approved by council or planning and zoning commission will then be added to the public record and will be required to come into compliance at the time of site plan and building permit. And then the final option, if city council or planning and zoning commission deny the request, then the applicant will be required to amend their proposal to meet any code standards. And in the case of the concept plan amendment, will have to revise the request entirely. So those are the 3 options that the city council, planning and zoning commission can move forward with. Next slide, please. So again, here's our contact information, and my name is Nathan Jonesmeyer. My email address is nathan.jonesmeyer@longmontcolorado.gov. My phone number is 303-774-3585. If you have any questions about the request, please contact me. We also have the applicant's information here as well, Shahzad Mahmood. And his email address is shahzad.mahmood@kimley-forum.com. And that concludes our meeting tonight. I hope you guys have a good evening. Thank you very much for joining. Goodbye.
Thanks.